We're live.
And we're live. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Paranormal Monday Night Live with myself, Paul from Host for Ghost, Luke from SCG, Andrew from SCG and GGA, and Paula from anyone. Very good evening to you. We're part of the Great British Ghost Hunters and the PUPI, Para-Unified Paranormal Investigators. So we're all part of the big team and the big investigation. Julia from Paranation's due on a little bit later, and I expect Dora will drop on as well. Hopefully everybody's well this week and been okay, had a good weekend. What time is the live? Now, Gemma.
We're on, Gemma, we're on.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about ghost hunting in the daytime. You know, why do most ghost hunts happen at night? And why do they not happen during the day? Some people do them during the day. You often see some groups out and about during the daytime doing investigations. I think we've probably done a few really during the daytime, but obviously at night time it's different. You know, things are around you different. It's different atmosphere. It's different pressure. It's all sorts of different things at night. Because potentially at night you lose one of your senses, which is your eyesight. So then everything else becomes more heightened during that time. So during the daytime, you don't lose anything. So you have all your senses, your eyesight, your hearing, smell, and touch. So, you know, people think, oh, it can only happen at night. But believe me, they're around during the day as much as they're around during the night.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how are you, William? Nice to have you on here. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, so during the day. Hi, Mark. Welcome on. We're talking about ghost hunting during the day, Mark. If you have any comments, put them on here. If you have any questions or comments, please put them on here, and we'll try and answer them, or we'll talk about the subject. So tonight we're talking about ghost hunting during the daytime. Mm-hmm. So who wants to go first?
Luke does. I can tell Luke does.
It must be you, Luke. Tell us about your experiences ghost hunting during the daytime, then, Luke.
Last year I went to St Anne's Hill in the daytime.
That's right.
That's a weird atmosphere in there. You get lost. You get lost. Right. Like you can't find your way out. Like you get disorientated.
So what made you go there?
Yeah. I'd never been there before, and I think like a few people have talked about it, and I wanted to experience it. What it was like.
Right. And what did you think of it during the day?
Yeah, it's quite scary, really.
And what was you picking up?
I'm not sure. It's just like a weird atmosphere, really. Just like something bad. You can feel something bad happen there.
Yeah.
And down by the well bit.
Yeah. Do you know much about the history of St Anne's Hill?
Not too much. I think someone got murdered there, like a woman. I think then near the well bit, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, because there's a nunnery there.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years ago, at the top of the hill where you were standing. And people often say that they see dark shadows walking through the trees and all around that area. And there's been a few things happen there. I used to live not far from there, St Anne's Hill in Sinchertsey. Well worth a visit during the daytime. It's quite a place, isn't it? And it's sort of right borders sort of Virginia Water type edge of it. There used to be an army base there at St Anne's Hill at the top. There's been like a nunnery there. Had a few things have happened there, unexplained things. And I went there many years ago with Joe from Surrey Paranormal. I think Darren was there this time. A few others. We tried it late in the evening. We've been there during the day, but we tried it during the evening, and it was quite scary during the evening. We did have to leave quickly after about half an hour to an hour of being there. We did have to leave quite quick because you could hear something in the trees coming towards us, but I don't know, you couldn't make it out. You knew something wasn't right from your senses on your body. You know, and like it's like when you go ghost hunting during the day, a lot of your defenses are a lot lower because you can see, hear, touch, smell. You know, we're a lot more comfortable during the day when we're out and about. You know, but what you got to remember is spirits out and about as well during the day. They're not necessarily just out at night. So it's always worth having your senses around you during the day. Things do happen during the day. You know, on a few occasions I've heard my name called when I've been in the workshop at work. Quite clearly. You know, very precise. Paul! And I thought someone was calling me. When I looked around, nobody was there. They'd all gone for their lunch, and I was the only one in there. And I heard it as clear as day. And I sort of walked around to see who was there who'd been calling me. Harry Potter. What's he got to do with it? So I walked around, couldn't find anybody, just didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, maybe. And then I heard it again 2 or 3 times, and I've heard it before. You know, even here, I've heard it. You know, so people say during the daytime, you know, it would be different to do a ghost hunt during the daytime. And then you could, like, start, I don't know, sort of late morning and then head right through into the night. So you could feel how the atmosphere would change coming from daylight and then going into the nighttime. It's a magical thing, yeah. So it's waking up in the morning, mate. That's always a magical thing. Gemma I missed that. I think they're struggling to get on a bit. Anyway, Daniel is over in Florida on a Bigfoot conference. So looks like he's doing really well out there. And his presentation's gone really well down. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Hi. That's all right. This is Julia from Paranormal Ghost Hunting Events. We're just talking about ghost hunting during the daylight hours.
Oh,
you know.
yes.
So, you know, we're saying, you know, spirit are around us 24 hours a day, really, day and night. You know, we assume, you know, you hear your name called during the day and there's nobody there. That type of thing.
You get that at work, don't you?
I'd say, I was just saying, I get that at work. I get my name called and there's no one there. Has that happened to anybody else?
I've had it once or twice in you know, if I'm in like a shopping centre, I've sort of turned around. I'm not sure whether it's anybody calling my name or not, but I have heard that. Another thing I have had a couple of times, which I found very, very strange, was something big like swooping down towards me. Like if I was in a field at a fete or something big would swoop down and I'd like duck like that. And you know, it's nothing. There's nothing there.
Hi, Gemma. Welcome.
Gemma.
We're talking about ghost hunting during the daytime, Gemma, which is a subject that you brought up, which is interesting. Sorry, Julia.
And yeah, we
dragons.
the ancient man.
Dragons, did say?
Yeah, could be. It's a big shadow. When we did the ancient man, I think we ghost hunted all through the night, and it was about. We took a break about 5-ish, and then we sort of like went back on it. And you know, even at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, we had the cat ball flashing, we had the glass moving. So yeah, I think you can ghost hunt anytime, day or night.
Yeah.
But at night, because it's dark, your senses are more heightened because of the it's dark. You can hear, you can't see so well. So yes, I think I don't mind doing it. And even in the evening, you know, when we do like an evening one, like the locations we go to, and we get there sort of about 7-ish, and it's still light. So yeah, I don't think it matters whether it's day or night. I think you can still go hunt.
Well, when you saw that thing,
in the daytime, I always see shadows, but not sure if it's in my head or not. But you know, sometimes we do question ourselves what we see, don't we? You know, did I see it? Was it really there? You know, but probably 9 times out of 10, it probably was there. You know, it was like here. I was decorating here once. I think it was during COVID, wasn't it? During the COVID, I was in the bathroom, sort of opposite, looking at the bathroom cabinet. I was sort of fixing it up, and I just looked down and I saw someone standing behind me. So I sort of thought, "Oh, here we go. Jen's going to try and make me jump." And as I turned around to make her jump, there was nobody there. So I thought, well, that's very strange. So I turned back, carried on, and
No, you said you come in here, didn't you? And you said, "Did you just come out a minute ago?"
yeah, I said to Jen, "Did you just come into the bathroom a minute ago?" She went, "No, why?" I said, "Well, I think I've just seen someone literally standing behind me, like watching me." But we weren't sure who it was. But
we did the Ouija board later, didn't we?
yeah, we thought we'd do a Ouija board here later, and we had Jen's dad come through and approved of the decorating. So it must have been him standing behind us at that time. You know, but people say, "Oh, you ghost hunt at night because it's more exciting, isn't it? Because you lose that eyesight, your other senses get much more heightened to what's going on around you, and you know the bumps, the knocks, and but when you actually get into a nighttime investigation, and you're in a room where you can actually see in the dark, and then suddenly you can see nothing because that room's got darker and darker and darker. You know, that's the time when you think to yourself, I wish I'd have done this in the daylight. You know, and that's why if you're doing a paranormal night or event or whatever, it's always good to walk around in the daylight so you orientate yourself with your surroundings. You know, because you could at night, you know, how many times have you seen a mannequin standing in the corner? I think that's someone standing there. But if you do your walk around or your lit walk around or whatever you want to call it, you know, you tend to see things. You think, right, there's a mannequin in the corner there, so there's a cabinet there, and I sort of take all these bits in as I'm walking around. And we did it in the old police station at Petersfield. Me and Julia walked around first, so we knew where the cabinet was, we knew where the mannequins were, we knew basically the way round. You know, so it's good to orientate yourself during the day or when it's still light, so you're not looking at things that are not there. Do you understand what I mean? Because you might see a shadow and it's a mannequin, you know, that type of thing. So in the daytime, you can actually see all that. Do you think we see more at night than the day?
Probably.
Not really. I think at night your vision is a lot more limited during the night because we're not designed to see at night, really, are we? Only a very short distance. You know, in the daylight, our eyes have got more light coming in, so you're more sensitive to your surroundings. You know, you look around in the daylight, you can see more. At night, you're limited in how the depth of vision, basically, isn't it? Because it's like a camera lens, isn't it? The more light you get into it, the better the picture. The lesser the light, the darker the picture, and that's the same as our eyes. I don't know if anybody else has got any ideas on that.
I normally find, like, if we go to somewhere in the evening, if we go early evening, just like time, and that seems to be my time to get like ghostly images. If I take photos, it seems to be around dusk. I don't know whether it's like the changing of the lights, you know, when it's, you know, slightly getting dark and slightly still light. But I have found over the years that when I take photos, it does tend to be around dusk. I seem to get the best pictures, and I think it could be because of the light is changing.
I missed that, Angela. Who was that from?
Dora can't make it on tonight.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like you say, Julia, just in that picture's slightly light, slightly dark. You know, you're a bit more sighted, aren't you? You can actually see. Plus, the camera's got more light coming in, so you're more chances of catching something that way, a shadow. You know, and have you caught shadows at that sort of time of day on your camera?
I have around dusk time. Off the top of my head, I can probably think about 4 or 5 times when I've taken a photo at dusk and I've actually caught what I believe is to be like some sort of like ghostly image. But yeah, that seems to be the best time for me. I don't know, maybe dawn would be a good time as well, because that's when the light's changing, but I don't tend to be around much at that time.
No, I mean, we were saying like if you did a ghost hunt event and you started like late morning and went right through to the evening to see how the atmosphere and everything changes over that period of time. Like you saying at the Ram, it was quite active during the night, but it was still active at 7 o'clock in the morning. Whether you'd pick up more by doing it from a light lunchtime or whatever time it would eat, and then gradually eat into the early hours of the morning. I think there'd be a vast difference in the atmosphere, in the way that you. I think during the daylight you handle an investigation differently than you do at night.
Mm.
Does that make sense or not?
Mm.
Because during the daylight, you're much more relaxed, aren't you? Because you can see your surroundings. You can see if anything's going to jump out on you or touch you or do anything abnormal to you. But at night, you've lost that field of vision, haven't you? So basically, you can only see very minimal distance in front of you or around you. So then you can become more heightened, more sensitive to your surroundings. So I wondered how much your body would change between starting in the daylight and then slowly as the night came in, how your body would change to that. What do you think?
Well, I remember when we went to, do you remember, Julie? We went to that Knoll Village, didn't we, with Darren that time? And that was a bit of an eerie place, that was, because we was looking at them graves and everything else with the crosses. And we went one end, didn't we? Because it was daylight we went there. I think it was about like 3:30 or something like that. And we stayed until about 6 when the sun was about to come down and everything else. But it was, you could tell there was a bit eerie atmosphere in that place, because you walk down into this, well, it looks like a little well, I showed you the plaque and everything else of Knoll Village. Now people died there in that hospitals because it was a sanitarium, and it's only across the road now, the new building. But it was just like I don't know, like a little woods really. And there weren't that many graves there now, basically, because a lot of them gone. And then, like Darren was saying, there was a little boy there that used to play ball there all the time and everything else. And
Yeah,
and he used to say about him all the time. He said he felt him there and this woman there coming down when we was there. But there was just an eerie bit where me and Julie went round, and you could feel the vibe there. You didn't want to go at that other end, and that did change a little bit when it get a little bit later on in that day.
I think if
yes,
we'd stayed until sort of later in the evening, I think we would have felt it sort of like really
Yeah, I
start to
would.
shift.
Gone. Yeah. I've been gone. See you later. Yeah, it was a
that'd
bit eerie
be the
there.
interesting part of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because as they run out of daylight, and you're coming into the night time, that energy must be a huge shift, wasn't it, from one energy to the other, really?
I
Anything
Really didn't
happened?
want to go down that end. I really didn't want
No,
to go down that end. Really didn't. I've had the vibe there. It made me a bit teary, upset, and a bit stressed. I really didn't want to go down that other end, and that's where the building was originally, which was like a church bit there. I don't know if
yeah,
there was somebody been buried there. I don't know, but I really didn't want to go down that other end. I just couldn't, that vibe.
it's strange.
Yeah.
You could, you don't need thousands of pounds of equipment to pick that up. Your body picks it up, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've been to
You
a
know,
house years ago. Years ago, I went to a house in Queens Road in Portsmouth, and I was looking at a house to buy. And there was an Indian family lived there. But as soon as I walked in that door, there was a vibe there. And I thought, I don't like this vibe. And it's like telling me to get out. So I walked out. Didn't
yeah,
buy it. I thought, no, thank you. You get a
but
vibe in
then,
your body, don't you?
yeah. I always say if you're going on a paranormal investigation, whatever you're going to do, you can take all the equipment with you, but the best thing that's going to tell you whether it's wrong or right is your body.
Yeah.
Because the goosebumps and the hairs standing up on your arms, and these are all signs that you don't equipment wouldn't tell you that you got goosebumps, would it? It wouldn't tell you, but your body will tell you. So it's
Yeah.
always a good thing to, when you go into these investigations, is feel what your body's feeling, because it'll tell you whether to run or not, or whether to stay, stick it out.
Yeah.
You have that fight or flight mode, don't you?
That might be an interesting piece of equipment to have. You know, when they put like these sensory type stickers on you when you're in hospital.
Yeah.
It might be. I just sort of like painting it now, but
yeah,
get like a little device with like little electrodes that you sort of like put sort of like on your, maybe on your arm, chest, head, you know, that can tell you when, you know, you're like, you know, your this is your heart rate's increasing, or you know, your hairs are sticking up on your arms, that sort of thing. Some sort of like sensory type thing, because when you're sort of like ghost hunting, when you're sort of looking around, you're probably not too much aware of what your reaction to things, you know, just, like that, you know, you oh, it scared me type thing. But you know, like the build up to it, you're probably not aware of, like, you know, the changes in yourself.
Yeah.
But your body, you've got that animal instinct which is telling you, no, don't go there, there's something scary, you know.
I often wonder whether your smartwatch would do that. If your stress level would change on your watch, or your heart rate would increase. These quite clever, these smartwatches now, aren't they, for this type of sort of stuff? I wonder, I don't know if any of you have got one, whether...
We've got a blood pressure monitor here. We have blood pressure monitor, gives you heart rate and all that lot of different things it gives you.
It looked funny walking around a paranormal night with a heart monitor.
Yeah, I know.
Blood pressure. What's that noise? There's a buzzing noise.
I've got here.
Are you all right? I'm just checking my blood pressure.
It's not risen. I find that with William, I find with his diabetes, his ones, when he does a ghost hunt, it rises quite a lot.
All right.
He has to really calm himself down every time. Every time
Really?
he goes ghost hunting, it really goes up high his sugars, and we had Justin to go off with him and checks his sugars again and get him down, because they do rise.
And yet we had that. Where was that? Fort Whitley, that guy that had diabetes there, Julie, didn't he? He had suddenly had an attack, didn't he? So that's quite interesting. So I wonder.
Always does. Williams does. And goes for some reason. Ghost hunting. It must be. I don't know if it's adrenaline. I don't know. Just weird.
It must be something released into the body, because that's quite a coincidence, isn't it? That, you know, that guy at Whitley had that attack, didn't he? And he was a diabetic. And you're saying William's blood sugars rise.
Yeah.
If anybody watching this has ever heard of this before, get in contact with us. It'd be interesting to know why the blood sugars would raise, whether it's a release of insulin into the body or that type of stuff. I don't know, but that's quite interesting, really. So, you know, whether your smartwatches would pick up the train. I don't know. They're quite clever, these smartwatches now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whether they would, like Julia was saying, whether they pick up the subtle. Because it might be subtle to us, but the watch may pick up a lot more around you, or with your skin, or however it does it. So that's a quite interesting point, that, Julia, isn't it?
Maybe we could try it on the next investigation, just see if anybody has got a smartwatch, to just keep an eye on it, just to see if anything does change.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, as the energy changes, whether, like you say, Julia, maybe the subtle changes that we just don't recognise. But they are changing, and that's why I wondered whether we would notice that going from a daytime investigation into the night time, whether you would pick that. Maybe there is a very subtle change that we don't feel, you know, as the light disappears.
I think the only time I've had that is like when we done the human pendulum. On that time we did Woodley. That's the only time when I noticed when my heart raced, and if it else when that spirit's trying to connect to me. It's the first time I've had that feeling, racing my heart and all of that, and all the genuine. Do you know what I mean? That's the only time I've had that.
That's like when they're coming into your aura, isn't it? When they're stepping really close, because potentially that's what you're asking them to do, is to step into that circle, and connect with the pendulum person. So they've got to get that close. Obviously, they're drawing on your energy as well.
Yeah.
So whether it's the draw on your energy is the heart rate lifting, because you're drawing. You know, anybody that's done a human pendulum comes away and they're exhausted.
Yeah, I was like
You
exhausted
know?
the first time I'd done it, but I'd never had that feeling before.
Oh, I see.
I wonder if
Yeah,
it's the questions that were being asked. I don't know because didn't listen exactly all the questions, but I wonder if she related to whatever questions you were asking. That's what's making my heart race because maybe she was stressed, and that's
yeah,
why my heart was
yeah.
racing. So that was the only thing I was thinking it could have been that maybe raced afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Because it was really like a breath and everything else. Do you know what I mean? All that.
It's like you'd wonder whether you take on their mannerisms,
Yeah,
whether they had a fart or they were an emotional person, because
yeah,
you're standing there asking questions. Whether you start to get, it'd be interesting to ask the person doing a pendulum about their emotions, wouldn't it? How do you feel? I feel quite sad, really. You know,
yeah,
that would give you an indication of how close spirit would be
yeah.
in that, because you'd be. They call it mannerisms, I think, isn't it,
Well,
Julia? Is that what they call it?
Yes, yes.
when Justin did it the first time at
Hmm.
the I think it was Stamp Shaw, he got overwhelmed and tearful and emotional and all that lot. He's never done it before, and he got very emotional and everything else over it, the feeling. And it's weird.
Yeah.
Like with William, he had a little boy sit on his lap, and he felt really upset afterwards. But he said he felt really sad about it, and he felt
Yeah.
very trying to think of another word he said, which he felt like sorry for the person, the child.
Hmm.
So he
Yeah.
had some feeling that the child gave him basically because Angela was there as well, basically. So wasn't it? So it was like you were there, Julia, weren't you as well?
Yeah. And Luke was there. I
Yeah.
remember when we went into, because it was quite a big place really.
Yeah.
Into one of the halls, one of the smaller halls, and I think we're doing some table tipping. But yeah, I remember William got quite upset in
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
there, quite heavy.
Mm,
Yeah, I know. When I've
Yeah.
given readings to people, that I become very emotional because I think that's what you're picking up on, that spirit that's coming through. So
yeah.
you get that emotion of like happiness. You're really upbeat, and that person must have been upbeat or is pleased to
Mm,
connect to you, that you can connect to their loved one. And it's
yeah.
probably the same as in the human pendulum. It may be their first time that they've ever connected to give their story,
Mm,
because nobody else will listen.
mm,
So maybe you feel their sadness, their excitement, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Sometimes I suppose you connect with spirit and you don't really know whether they've been on connected with anybody else or connected with another group, or it's their first time. They go, "Hi, Ryan," that
Hi,
they've
Ryan.
come that they come through, and it's
mm,
interesting. We have to try that next time, Julia. Ask people their emotions, because you know, and we've seen it ourselves when you do a human pendulum. Um, you can see the pendulum moving before the question's actually asked. So spirit already know what question is coming. So
Yeah, I've
whether
never
that,
actually been a pendulum. Um,
pardon,
I've never actually been a pendulum, but when you are a pendulum, because I know Paul has been a pendulum, when you're a pendulum, are you just like so sort of like
mm,
relaxed that,
yeah.
are you sort of like listening to what we're asking, or are you just like
No.
so
The first time I did it, I was trying to listen to you guys and if it else the first time, and then I thought, well, no, there's no point me listening because I'm not going to concentrate on what I'm, close my mind down. So then I decided, right, this time round, I did a little bit last time when we was at the police station. This time I thought, no, I'm going to take a deep breath, close my eyes and blank, screw it, do you know what I mean? Blank my head. So I got nothing coming through, do you know what I mean? And that's what I did. And I always feel every time basically is that somebody's telling me to move forward or backwards. You feel like somebody's they're not exactly pushing, but you just feel your legs are being moved. Do you know what I mean? Like pushing you forward, then pushing you backwards. But like last time when I was at the police station, I had felt my hands going cold and I felt someone touching my knee. So we realised it was a woman, it was a child last time. This time round, I felt like out of breath, tired, and my heart was racing and going fast and everything else. And it was at different times. It wasn't straight away. It was later on. So I don't know what questions were being asked. But it was either the woman was saying, "Oh, I've got to get this out. I've got to get these questions." Whatever he was asking, she wanted to say the story, whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? Because I know you said it was like poison and things like that. You were saying basically when you came on here last, and I wonder if that's what she was trying to get out, different things that she wanted to say, and that's when my heart was racing because she was trying to get it out out on the. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what was
Yeah,
going. I felt the cold down my hands, anything else, and I felt her presence there. Do you know what I mean? So I felt it this time more than I did last time. I was more
yeah.
connected.
It's strange, isn't it? Ryan's put on here
Yeah.
talking about human pendulums. I had my first experience at the Ram, and I had a distinct feeling of a dark figure was stood over me to my left, and the sadness. See,
Oh.
you
I
know,
think
it just
his fingers were tingly as well in one of his
Yeah.
hands. I felt
Yeah. You
okay.
did that. Yeah.
his finger in his hand, in his fingers in his hand.
It
Or
starts
did
off
you get
like that, isn't
tingly?
it? Yeah. It
Did
always
you?
starts off with that. That's what happened to
Is
me
it?
when I was on station. It's like oh, how can I explain it? Because I take tablets, I get that sensation, tingling sensations, like pins and needles. There's another way of saying it.
Yeah,
Pins and needles in your hand. So you get a pins and needles, a cold sensation. That's what it feels like, based in your fingers, and it rises like your hands. And that's what I
yeah,
had to my knee originally going cold as well, and everything else. And like this time round, just like I had the cold tingling in my sensation. I thought, oh, something's starting then. Just always think every time. And then suddenly my hands going cold, and then it started. He was asking questions, and that's when it started racing my heart, and I felt myself moving backwards and forwards. It's like
yeah,
there's in my head, she's telling me to go that way and that way, but she don't. She pushes me that way and that way, but it's
yeah,
not like a
yeah.
push, but it's moved. It's like she's trying to move my legs.
It's a very subtle movement. What about you,
Yes.
Luke? What do you get this? I describe it as like static when I get a connection. Like I feel it's like static here. You know
Oh.
I'm
that static feeling like that, and it's in my
spider
head.
webs.
And I know spirit's there then because that's my sign for spirit connecting with me. It's like if I give a reading, and I connect, first thing I feel is this static in my head, like real build up of static, and then I know that they're ready or I'm ready. I'm not quite sure what that static is, like you say, pins and needles, but it's that type of feeling, and then I get the connection. But like giving a reading, you don't know. I don't always remember what I've said to that person because it's not me that's actually doing it, is it? You're just
No.
acting like a go-between. What about you, Luke? What do you get?
Yeah, it's like a feeling of like cobwebs on your head, tingling on
That's
your head
it.
like
Yeah.
cobwebs. I get that quite a lot, and indoors in my house for some reason as well. Get it quite often.
So Ryan's, but I only ever felt static in Wookie Hole by the stairs where the witch was.
Oh wow.
I
What about
tend to
you,
feel
Angela? What does your sign that something's near? What do you get?
Just all the hair standing up on end. I just feel like something's going through me, and just every hair sort of goes straight up. And it's almost like a shiver, but not cold. It just
All
sort of
right,
goes.
and you know that they're there. That's your sign for them.
Yeah.
Because also,
Sometimes I pick up on emotions. I don't seem to pick up on happy ones. I usually pick up on sad ones. So I just
really,
I need to cry, and I don't know why. And
yeah,
yeah,
because you could, you could say the investigation that you did in Alistair Crowley's in Cornwall or Devon or wherever it was with Darren. That was during the daytime, wasn't it?
yeah,
And you had various things happen on that one, didn't you, during the day?
yeah. There was lots of strange things there. It's, well, we've done what's it called? Yeah, Knoll Village. We've done quite a few times during the day, and Racton Ruins.
Oh yeah,
And I always sort of pick up things during the day more than at night, because I think when it comes to the night time and it gets dark, I start sort of shutting down, like I'm supposed to be going to sleep now. Rather than if it's during the day, everything's still awake and alert.
yeah, true.
When I sort of see more things or feel things or hear things.
Do you think that's because you start to close down because it is dark
Yeah.
and you don't leave yourself so open to it during the dark nap, blah blah blah, through the dark hours? So you
Yeah.
sort of tend to shut yourself up a little bit.
Yeah, because I think when it gets dark, I should be going to sleep rather than being awake
Right.
and going everywhere. So
It's-
during the
it-
day, I find it's better for me, actually.
What about you, Julia? What do you get if you get a contact or you get?
It's pretty much the same as Angela, really, where I just feel like like a weird sort of like fuzzy feeling, like something's walked over your grave type feeling. But I feel like something like fuzzy, like something's walked through me. Really strange. Also, sort of like when someone's walks across your grave and you're just about to shiver, sometimes you can't stop it, can you? But it's that sort of feeling.
Yeah.
You feel like you're gonna, you're just about, you try and hold it.
And that's a
right now,
weird,
actually.
that's a weird thing, isn't it? When you get that shivering moment, someone's walked over your grave. I mean, what actually is happening when that happens? Obviously nobody can walk over your grave because you're not dead. But how I wonder where that saying comes from. Because
maybe
you often
walked over somebody else's grave, or maybe you walked through someone.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling when that happens, isn't it?
That happened in William Manor. That did basically when I was upstairs with Angela and William and Justin were laying on the floor in the house. I felt when we went out in that room. That's the room where that bookcase you said you got pinned against, wasn't it, Angela? That room.
Yeah.
And I remember something cold went through my body then in there, and I thought it was just me getting cold. in there. I felt something go through. Do you know what I mean? Coldness. It was like, felt cold. I thought, okay, and that was it.
That sort of wonders, like with your smartwatch, would your smartwatch pick up your temperature change in your body? Do you actually go cold, or is it just a feeling of coldness? Do you see what I'm saying?
My hands go cold quite a lot when I've gone on these, especially like I've shown Julia when after done like human pennium. I look, feel my hands, and my hands are freezing. They always are. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird.
So there is a temperature change then in your.
Yeah, my hands.
Because I often wonder when people say that is whether it's a coldness feeling or your body actually does chill down. It'd be interesting, again, like Julia was saying, with the sensors on your body to see whether you actually chill or it's just a feeling of chilling.
Well, it's funny. It's like in Fort Woodley when we went into upstairs and went along this tunnel, and there's a bit upstairs. There was a bit when we did on the Ouija board, and if Alison Julie was there, and I remember there were these other people around the table as well, and it ended up. Was doing the Ouija thing, and I remember this girl was there basically, which I think was a nurse actually, because this bloke killed her. But I remember I blew out my mouth, and this white smoke came out my mouth, where it was that cold, and I felt the cold on my cheek, and my hands were cold. And I said, "Look at this!" I went to everybody, I went like that, and they went, "Oh my god!" So I could feel my face. They went, "Oh my god!" I said, "It's cold." And I've never felt that feeling before like that. Do you know what I mean?
You wonder how close spirit is when you get it. How can it be one side and not the other side of the face?
I know.
It
was that side. And then we found out. I asked if she was there, and I found out, and they said yes. She when we asked on the Ouija board, I said, "Are you beside me on that side?" And she said yes. And then the lady across from me, she felt a presence that side, and it was the children over her side because she thought she moved and she didn't. So yeah, it was weird. That was great.
So
Actually.
just shows you how sensitive your body is to change, isn't it? In the dark, you're a lot more sensitive in the dark, like we were saying earlier, a lot more sensitive to your surroundings. I don't know what Gemma thinks about that, but put a note on here, Gemma. Let us know what you think. But ghost hunting during the day, I should think, is probably just as exciting as doing it through the night. Gemma's put it's funny that most notorious ghostly sightings are noted at night, like on the road. Why is this the time of death? It could be what they say is residual energy. The residual is like a videotape, like stone tape theory, where it's played back through time. So it could be that surroundings or some in the trees, I don't know, the road, just replays that. Because funny story, I'd been to a ghost hunt one night. Not sure where I'd been. Old Brighton police cells, somewhere like that in Brighton. And I was heading home early hours in the morning, like you do, because the only people out at the early hours in the morning got to be ghost hunters, aren't they? Because nobody in the right mind would be travelling around at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I was travelling home on the bike, And I was just coming up. There's a bypass called the Caterham bypass, not far from us. So I was travelling up the bypass, and for a split second, you come up a slight hill, and then you go over the brow of the hill, and it goes all the way down the hill. Just before I got to the brow of the hill, it just like time had stopped, and I wasn't moving. Though I was on the bike, it's like everything around me stopped. And when I looked, I thought, "What the?" I looked around. I've had a burning ear twice. That generally that could also be the spirit of trying to tune in to you, because a lot of people say that whistling in your ear is spirit trying to tune, trying to give you a message or trying to tune into you so you can hear them. And that's what often people say that whistling in your ear is. I don't know if anybody else has heard that. Anyway, it was like got to the, and it was just like time had stopped, literally stopped. And I sort of looked to my left, and there was a lady standing there in, I can only describe like a white gown on the side of the road. And not that she saw me, I looked and thought, what on earth? And it was just like the bike had stopped in time and I wasn't going anywhere. And it was a split second.
Hi, Mark.
Mark says it's because I ring Gemma when she's ironing. Mark, you have a hotline to Gemma then? Yeah.
Put the iron down first, Gemma, before you pick it.
So that split second, it was only literally seconds, and it was just like I was back over the hill, heading down the other side of the hill, and I thought, "What on earth was that?" And sort of thought, "Oh, maybe I'm just tired because it's been a long night, whatever." Unbeknownst to me, I got home, obviously went to bed, and I was speaking to Jen about it in the next morning. And she said, just on the brow of the hill or up on the Caterham bypass, there was a woman killed in an accident up there. And some people say that they do see her on the side of the road. But it was that split second is like whole time had stopped still. You know, it's a very strange experience. I've never had it again. And it's like here the other night where we were obviously fast asleep. It's about 3:45, 3:50 in the morning. I'm quite a light sleeper anyway. Anyway, I heard this like what sounded like a scraping noise. And I thought, what on earth is that? And I sort of sat up in bed and looked up and sort of, you know how you're sort of looking around thinking, what on earth's that? Pops is asleep on the bed. And as I looked towards the bedroom door, I saw a picture come in the bedroom door. Now, the picture is in the hallway above the radiator, and it's on a metal bracket and a metal collar that holds the picture up. It's never fell down. It's never been anywhere because it's quite securely fitted. But I heard a scraping sound, and that's what sort of woke me at first. And as I looked sort of towards the door, I saw the picture bowl in the door and fall down. And yet, if it had fell off the wall, you think it would have landed in the hallway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What's your taking on that?
What's on the picture?
It's a picture of me, Jen, and the girls.
I wonder if it's something to do with the family or something. Somebody's trying to tell you something, maybe taking it in, saying, "Look."
Well, I did wonder that, but such a strange sound. And that's what sort of woke me at first, was this scraping type noise. I'm thinking, what on earth is that noise? And sort of sat bolt upright and sort of looking around the room thinking, well, there's nothing, just odd things happen here, you know, they do, we've told you before. And let's say, as I looked over to my right to the door, it never hit the radiator and fell in the hallway. It came in the bedroom door.
Wow.
So I got up and had a look, thought, well, the clip's still on there, the clip's still in the wall. So how has that come down? But that time in the morning, I just hooked it back up and went back to bed and didn't really think any more of it.
I didn't break then.
No.
Oh,
It's one of them canvases, you know, they're like a canvas picture.
Yeah.
It's like one of them.
Yeah.
So it's a really strange thing. So I'm not sure what's going on. I might set up a camera and see what's going on, see if it picks up anything. Obviously, things do happen here. You know, you often hear bangs and knocks, and you know, Jen's come in after being out shopping and thought Steph and the girls were here because you could hear a conversation in the lounge. Come in here, there's nobody here. And I've heard the same thing. I've come in and Jen's out doing readings. I'm thinking, oh, well, Steph must be here or someone's in here because I can hear a conversation going. Come in the front, in the lounge door to say hello, and then no one.
I've had that before.
So, you know, we do hear lots of conversations here, which is very strange. We think the portal is in the hallway, but we're not sure. But even during the day, like I had that shadow behind me when I was decorating the bathroom. You know, various things happen during the day, so it's not always at night is the best thing. You know, and it's like I say, if you could do it sort of lunchtime onwards, you know, because if you did it from really early in the morning right the way through the night, I don't think you'd survive. You know, it's a long haul, and as you get tired, your energy drops anyway. So I think, you know, a lot of the things that go on would drop with it, wouldn't they? Because they rely on your energy, don't they, to really push on. You know, in the morning, I expect, like at the run, you know, you woke up and not full of energy, but you were already sort of awake, a bit more energy producing. So that sort of maybe stirred it up a bit more for them to connect. What do you think, Julia? Would that be right?
I didn't sleep at all. So I was like, absolutely. I don't know. I think the energy levels dipped sort of like around sort of like 2:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock. We had a little break about 5ish, and then we sort of like started up again. But yeah, we're just real hardened ghost hunters, really. We just go straight
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
365 days of the year.
We hunt it.
Anywhere, anytime, you're like Ghostbusters.
We'll just carry on until we have to leave. But yeah, but going back to what Gemma said about seeing ghosts, you know, more at night than during the day. When I've taken like photos of what I believe to be ghosts at dusk, they do tend to have, I always say, a light of their own. So if you're like scanning through, if you're taking those scenery photos, you're scanning through, if you see something that's almost a light or lit in a different form, I always think that they seem to have like a light of their own when I've taken photos of them. So maybe that's why you see them more at night, because they show up more in the dark than they would during daylight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They've got a slightly different light than normal light.
Yeah.
Like this light, they've got a slight glow to them. I suppose that's how you describe it. But
yeah,
like pitch black, maybe you'll see that more than, you know, in daylight you might just think, oh, it's the sun or something like that. But yeah, I always find they just got a different glow to them.
They always look slightly different when you see like an apparition, don't they? They look very same, but there's something about them that's different. And like you say, whether it's the light around them or the light that they bring through with them, or that's a good point. I don't know really. I don't know if anybody watching this would know the answer. You know, message in and let us know what you think. What Julie was saying, but it would make sense that they are slightly different when you see them, or like you say on photographs, there's something slightly different about them. You know, when you do see them, you know, you do see a full apparition, which is very rare that people see a full apparition. You know, and the one I saw, he was different. You know, so you double take it, don't you? Because you think, is it? And then you look, you think it is, and when you look back to sort of confirm, it's gone. So there is something, you know, people describe seeing like a shimmering, like a heat haze, and they're in the heat haze where they just can't make them out. And sometimes you take pictures, don't you? And even during the daylight, but you can't see the features, the facial features, and things like that. You know, I'm not sure whether is that not enough light, not enough energy, or is that how we were meant to see them without the facial features. Because sometimes you can make out the hair, can't you? But it's very rare. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. One was in the cellar at a pub in Southampton, and even though it's very dark in there, pitch black, we saw his like full figure like go across in front of us. There's 3 people one side, 3 people the other side, and he just like walked straight down through all of us. 6 of us saw him. But even though it's very dark in there, he was almost darker than the dark, if you see what I mean. Solid, you know, you could see, you know.
Was it colour?
Just black. But
Just
even though
completely.
it's dark in there, he was blacker than the darkness, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen one that colour. The very first, well, not the very first one. Very first one I saw was like a little boy, but he was just looked like a little boy. I saw one in a hotel I stayed in, and that woke me up in the middle of the night, and all I could move was my head. I couldn't move anything else. And he was literally standing straight through the bed, and he was like a khaki greeny silvery type colour, almost a khaki greeny grey colour, slightly see-through, but he was quite scary. That scared me, that one.
Yeah.
But I think I have seen a few. I've been quite lucky.
Because it is quite rare, isn't it, that people see them. You know, that you could go out, 20, 30, 40 years and not see an apparition. But sometimes, you're right time, right place, the weather's right, the surroundings are right, everything's right, and they're there, and there they are. They appear from some nowhere. Sure, it wasn't Julia Pooley. Not quite sure what that's meant. But do they? Is it that they want you to see them, acknowledge them, or is it just that they're going through the same they would have done 200 years ago, 100 years ago?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Because a lot of times they don't always acknowledge you, do they? So is it that they're
in the cellar? Just like walked straight, as if no one was there. He just walked straight. There were 6 of us, straight past everybody. I think the little boy at the window. I think he. I don't know. It looked like he could see us.
right?
And he disappeared.
Barakar the Breezy Ghost. Never heard of that one, Mark. What was that one? But I often wonder whether they can actually see us, or do they just suddenly appear because in their time or space or wherever they are, there is no one there. And this is how they're so rare to see. What's your take on it, Luke?
What about ghosts that can't see us? That I went once up for Woodley once. I saw this man walk straight past me and didn't acknowledge me. He was just looking straight ahead into the tunnel, and I never saw him again after that. A bit bizarre. Just walked straight past me and didn't know I was there. Just walking straight ahead, looking straight ahead, and no emotion or nothing. It's different.
This is what makes you wonder whether we're actually there in their time.
Yeah.
Or they're just going about their business and we're not actually in their time. So they can't see us or they don't sense us. I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? Do they actually know we're there? I mean, you can get intelligent where you knock twice and you get the knock. Bit like cogs.
That was a good one.
I do believe that bloke we saw in Cogs Farm was a ghost and who was going the same thing over and over again, and many people saw him. They generally call that like the residual energy, and it's like they call that the stone tape theory, where it's like a video that's played backwards and forth over and over again at certain weather conditions and certain atmospheres and whatever, and that's why they never interact with you, because it's just like a video player. That's why some people say it walked right past me, like Luke was saying, and never acknowledged you were there, or you that type of thing, or nodded or winked at you, or because I think at that time they're not there. Maybe they don't realise they're actually dead and just going about it. Well, there is that. Do they know they've passed over, or sometimes if they die tragically, if it's in a castle or a fort or somewhere that's seen action during the war, a tragic death, You know, do they actually know that they're dead? Do they just, you know, is everything they just replaying what they would have done that morning, that day, that evening, that night? I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? You know, where you can see them, but they don't interact. And people say, "Oh, you see the lady looking out the window, or the boy, or whatever." You know, are they actually looking at you, or are they looking at something their time, saying things? Is what that's very true, Gemma. We'll never know unless we bump into one.
Yeah.
Like, if we bump into one, then I think I'd be the first one running. Because if
Yeah.
they don't go through me, there's got to be something wrong. But you know, you couldn't even ask them the question, could you? Really? I suppose you could ask her, you know, do you know you're dead? But that's not really a good question to ask, is it? I don't think. You know, do you know you've passed, or you know? And when you get them on the board, sometimes on the board it's odd, isn't it? The way
Mm.
they answer questions. You know, do they actually see us on the board, or do they just see? You know, how do they know what a board looks like?
Mm.
Have you ever thought of that? You know, they're moving the glass around the board, but so that means they can see the board,
Yeah.
but can't see us.
Mm. Or maybe they can see us. They're right beside us. Do you know what I mean? You don't know, do you?
But they must
Makes
be
sense,
looking at the
that one.
board to get the numbers and the letters, and
Yeah.
mustn't they?
Yeah.
Or do they sense us there rather than see us?
Mm.
Because when we say,
Their
"Oh, can you
energy.
take the glass to where you're standing?" The
Yeah.
glass goes to where apparently they believe they're standing. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done
it's
that before.
it's an interesting point, isn't it? You know, so if they can see the board, can they see us or can they sense us? That's
Always
what I
think that
often wonder.
I always think sometimes that they're there. Do you know what I mean? For some reason, like the cold sensation you have on you and everything else, I wonder if standing right beside you makes you feel sometimes. Do you know what I mean? They're looking over your shoulder or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So either
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a thing that you'll think it is, basically, or their presence, probably. I
but
don't know.
I did a pub near here. Dates back to the 14th century. It's a really, really old pub. Most of the pub was underground because when the pub was built, it was on top on a really steep slope. So as cars came along, so they built a road up. But so the pub was actually built. The road was like covering a lot of the pub, probably a bit like the Ram, where most of it's down below ground level and not above high level. So they realised when they built the pub that the cars couldn't in them days couldn't make it up the hill. So what they did was then cut the road down, so which exposed more of the pub. So the cellar would have become the first floor, and etc. and so on. And we did one there one night, and it's probably the first time I've ever had this happen. We were on a board with a group of guys and saying, "Is there anybody there?" You know, and we got a man called Tom. You know, and you could smell what smelled like a wet dog. We said, "You have a dog with you, Tom?" And like, "Yeah, we've got a dog." And it carried on. It was some good information. But for a split second, I thought I had a dog claw at my thigh, at my calf. You know, like he's trying to tell me something.
Mm.
And I looked down and I saw the dog there.
Oh,
And I
wow.
looked at the dog and it was walking off between the chairs with its tail wagging. And I said to the landlady then, "Your dog's got out." She said, "We don't have a dog." I said, "But there was a dog here." She said, "No, we don't have any pets here. There's no dogs here. But there used to be a man that would come and drink in the snug where we were with his dog."
Oh.
But I actually felt like a paw on the side of my calf trying to tell me that I'm here. That type of thing, like a dog would. It just sort of
Mm.
give you a little tap. And that's the first time I think physically I've had something touch me that I could genuinely say, you know, and the dog just disappeared. And she said, "What dog?" I said, "That one in front of you." She said, "We don't have any dogs or any animals here." And it's just gone, you know,
Wow.
which was a very strange thing to happen. You know, it was quite an active night there. It was an unusual place because it's only a very small place, you know. So whether they see us, or just senses. I don't know. You know, it's a difficult question to answer, isn't it? You know,
I think the only time I had sensation was from a cat years ago when I was upset. She got run over outside here. It was my cat. I felt a lot of, I was really upset that she went, and I tried to revive her, but she was gone. And I was
yeah,
crying my eyes out, and I was laying by the fire, crying my eyes out, and I just felt something nudge my back of my head like that, back of my head. I was like, "What's that?" Do you know what I mean? Like that. I was
yeah,
like, I thought it was the other cat because I've got two, basically the sisters, and I had something nudge me across my head, like the towel at the back of her. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Get away!" To the other cat, Casper at the time. The other one was Jasmine that passed away, and it was Casper, the other one. They both
yeah,
break were and nudged it, and I was so upset and everything else. And I looked around, there was nothing there. I don't know if she was trying to tell me that she's gone or don't worry, I'm okay. Do you know what I mean, I never
yeah.
know. But I had that
Strange.
sensation, it's like strange. I never saw her, but I felt her.
You felt her, yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, what was the name of that pub we went to in Oxted? Red Lion? Well, the Crown. That's it. Yeah, it's called the Crown in Oxted, Ryan.
Yeah.
That's the pub, but it was built in such a way that you know it was quite under. It's hard to explain it. I suppose the Ram was a bit like that by the pictures, where a lot of it was below road level, and this Crown was the same sort of thing, and they were saying because the road was so steep that older cars couldn't get up the hill, so they actually cut the hill down, so which then exposed the pub more above the road level, which was quite interesting. You know, that they would go to that extreme to cut the road down so the cars could get up it. You know, instead of just letting them leaving it and get your own way up, you
Yeah.
actually cut the road down to the level that the old-fashioned cars could get up. What would have been old Oxted at that time. So that was quite interesting, really. But going back to like Gemma's question about ghost hunting during the daytime, I honestly think you can do it anytime. Like Julie was saying, it's not just at night. You can do it during the day. You know, things happen. We hear our voices being called. You know, we have different experiences during the day, and the spirit don't just come out at night. They're there 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. So they're always around us. It's just that we're more heightened at night because we lose that sense of eyesight. So we're more sensitive at night than we are during the day. So I hope that answers your question, Gemma. It does give us a thumbs up or give us a comment. Anybody else watching on here, give us a comments or whatever you think on tonight about ghost hunting during the day. I'm sure there's lots of people that do it. Take EV. I'm sure it's Graham Bentley or Mark that do a lot of EVPs during the day, and they pick up some really good EVPs during the day. I've never tried it myself.
Justin's work used to be very over this other building used to be very haunted because somebody hung their cells years ago in the tanneries. So he
All
hung
right.
himself, killed himself. And Justin used to have stuff disappear all the time. He have his tools could be put down that day and it'd disappear. And he's seen
Yeah.
him a few times, do you know what I mean, in the building in the daytime as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not just like you say, not nighttime, it happens in the daytime. But it's like where we are crossed, not far from there now. Sometimes I feel presence. Sometimes you think somebody's behind you in the kitchen when I'm
Yeah.
doing my cup of teas. And I look around, I think, oh no, there's nobody there. Because I think it's either Justin or the old one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not.
We
So you
often
do
get
get
that. We
presence.
look out the kitchen window. It
Mm,
feels like someone's standing outside. You know
mm,
that feeling when you look up and there's nobody there? And
mm,
that's normally during the day we get that. Not so much in the evening, but during the daytime.
mm.
So I don't know. To answer your question, Gemma, yeah, you can do it 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I think that's my opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think you can do it during the daylight hours. Just that you'll have more senses because you'll have your eyesight during the day. So maybe you could pick up a bit, like Julia's saying, it's slightly different coloured
Mm.
energy there and around or near you or whatever. You pick up that different type of surroundings during the day. At night, you're listening. You tend to listen more, don't you, at night, and feel more with your senses in your hands and the coldness than you would during the day because you can see better during the day than you do at night. So, are there any other questions, Angela? Anything come through?
Oh yeah, there's more questions, but I just wanted to say about I've got a big canvas on the my wall in the front room, and it's held on by a hook in the middle. But to get it off, you'd have to like physically lift it off. And there was one day, it was a while ago now, probably a couple of years ago, I was sat in the front room at my desk over in the corner there, and the canvas over there. And I could hear Amy and Ben having a big old argument in the kitchen. And I don't know exactly what was said, but apparently Ben had said some really nasty things to Amy and actually made her cry. And that's like a very rare thing for Amy to cry.
Yeah.
And I think the build-up of the negative energy, that canvas just jumped off of the wall and just landed on the sofa. I just looked over. I thought, was it the dogs or anyone there? But it was just me in the room, and this canvas just jumped off the wall.
Oh.
And I think that was something to do with the negative energy that they created through their argument, because they haven't had a heated argument like that since. They hadn't had one before that. And
Yeah.
that's what I put that down to.
That's it could be a build up, like you say, of energy in the house. You know, sometimes you can walk into somewhere where people have had a row and you sense it, don't you? Or
Yeah.
don't like this atmosphere because there's been a row, or you know, again, that's your body, isn't it, telling you that something's not right in that atmosphere. And like you say, after that row, maybe that was that doing that. Just shows you how strong it can be, doesn't it? You know, your energy, the energy that we must give out must, if you could harness it, must be immense amount of power, really. Anyway, we've got
quite often hear, especially Jack, he'll just come into the room and say yes. I'm like, what? He called me. He said, no, nobody's called you. And this happens quite often. It isn't mainly with Jack for some reason. He always say, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where comes in, and she hears like, she's like a couple of rooms or so away, and she'll come and she goes, what, Mum? And I'm like, sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, I just heard you call my name. I went, no.
Like when I was at the sink, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Jen's heard it. She thinks people call her and all sorts of, you know. And like I was saying, you hear your name, don't you? Called. I've heard mine in the workshop. You know, so spirit are about during the day, Gemma. You know, I think you just got to listen for them, because there will be messages, or there will be some indication, a tap, a knock, a whistle, something that they are there. Generally, your loved ones.
Just letting you know.
Just letting you know that they're around, or you know that it's coming up to a anniversary or something, and they tend to want to make you know because they give you a smell. To be honest, we have been Waverley in the light to begin with, and the other ghost events in the light, and things do happen. It's just more dramatic in the dark. Very true.
Yeah.
It's because you're more heightened in the dark, so it's more dramatic, isn't it? When something happens, you know, and it is true. Yeah, you know, we've been there during the day, or sort of dusk, isn't it? Really, when we normally get there at 7 o'clock, it's normally dusk. So, and it happens then. You know, it builds up, and then you're still there in the dark. So it's just you're more heightened in the dark. But very true, Gemma. Very true. So,
A few more comments.
what's the history of your house? Maybe it's past owner, possibly worth cleansing the house. The one we caught on the video here was the previous owner, because one of the next door neighbours clarified it with us, said it looks like her. But as for the picture coming off the wall, we're not sure what that was about, to be honest.
A couple of weeks back, I was standing.
Can you hear? I don't know if you can hear, Jen.
A couple of weeks back, I was standing in the kitchen preparing dinner, and I felt a presence of someone standing behind me, and it freaked me out a bit. I sort of jumped out of my skin. I thought I saw something standing behind me.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a woman. I think it was a man.
We've got a man at the front of our house who looks through our front window, and he wears. And we've also got a little girl, about 9 years old, I think she must be, and she's at the bottom of the stairs, and she's holding my old cat, as it is. But I've taken photos of both of them.
Has anyone lost a child?
No. No, she's about 9. She's got sort of
Okay.
like very sort of like ringlety curly hair up in a big bow. And then like
She's just coming in to tell you that she's got your cat and he's safe. I say he. I don't know if it's a he.
he was actually a boy, yeah.
Yeah.
You spooky woman.
Yeah, but so she's carrying my cat. So
Nice.
yeah,
That's quite
comforting in a way.
comforting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's quite comforting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always something a bit weird, especially sort of around the kitchen area. But yeah, where we live, it's like a little cul-de-sac, but either side have had people pass away. 2 doors along, someone's died there. 1, 2, 3, 4, someone died there. 4 houses along from that. And then 3 houses around there, someone else died. But yet there's been lots of people that I've been here about 25 years. There's been a lot of people that have passed away in that time in such a small area. So I think
is that a safe road to live in then, by the sounds of it?
I'm still here, but it's I think I scare them away, I think, more than anything.
You're like, oh, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
Have a
How
cup of
funny.
tea.
I take a picture.
Take a pose.
Take a photo of you. Yeah.
So what events you've got coming up soon, Julia?
We've got the old convent at the end of June, which used to be also a hospital for US airmen. Very, very excited about that one. New venue, never been there before. Very excited about exploring a new venue. That's sold out. Loads of people have booked on that one, so that's really good.
Yes.
And then we haven't got anything until the end of September, so I really need to sort of pull my finger out and get a couple more booked in between now and end of September.
We're doing. We've been asked to help out do a paranormal beginners class at Horsham Spiritual Church.
June the 23rd.
June the 23rd. If anybody's interested, come along. It's just like learning the basics, grounding.
Daytime,
It's during the day, 11 till 5. So it's about grounding and how, using the equipment and all that type of stuff. So it's for the church. So we're doing that on that. And then
How did the Horsham one go in that other church she was going to?
Yeah, it's the same place.
same place,
was
yeah.
it?
The
Good.
night we did the talk,
Yeah.
we were sitting. They were like sort of in a circle, and we were in the middle talking.
Hmm.
And we kept hearing noises in the actual main room. And then we heard the fire door handle going.
Oh.
And these women's going, "You sure it's safe in here?" As all sorts of things happen there. It's quite an active place. And then we just showed them sort of the basic equipments and the cameras and all of that, and then they could have the use of them. You sort of went with them, and they could use the SLS and the cat balls and the laser grids. And so we went into one place, and there's a chair right at the very end, like a very ornate chair. And there's about. Can you send me the details of the class? Yeah, we'll do, Ryan. We'll send it over. So there's this very ornate chair at the very end of this hall, and there was probably 11 or 12 of us in the hall. We had the laser grid up on the wall, and we kept seeing this shadow going from left to right. It literally like a shadow. And at one stage, one of the women said, "There's someone sitting in a chair." And when we all looked at the chair, and it was like a hooded bloke person sitting in a chair with their hands over the end of the chair, like tapping like that. You could actually see the hands moving in the laser grid.
Wow.
It was the most strange thing. And I took a load of pictures like Julie would, videos, and nothing came out. But we saw it. 12 people saw this in there. And one of the ladies went and stood up by the side of the chair. And bearing in mind we had a green laser grid all over the wall, but when the lights were hitting her, they were actually turning red, and then going black, and then going red, then they go back to green, and they were red, and then they were black. Really. So sort of called her forward and checked her top, make sure there's no anything sparkly that would reflect the light back, and all of that type of stuff. But she just had a plain top on. But they were going red, black, green, red, black, green, green, black. Really strange. And again, I was taking videos. Never came out. Never came out in the video. So
You didn't touch
such a
her then? You
Pardon?
didn't touch her at all? She didn't feel him, did she, at all? Him touching her or
she
anything?
she said she thought she felt someone brush past her.
Ah.
Just at the time we said, what are them red lights up there?
Mm.
But obviously, you have to check over the top. They could have had a sparkly top or something. But how can you turn green lights into red lights
No.
and then into black? The black I could put down to maybe a shadow, possibly. Not sure. But I completely don't know how the green lights would go red.
Mm.
And there were four red lights on up. And they would go green, then they would go black, then they would go red, they would stay green, and then they would go green and red and black. And they were changing all the time. And yet, when you look to the left or the right of her, the green lights were stationary.
Really?
So, very interesting place.
Mm.
Okay, that's all right. I'll send the link out. I'll get Jen to send a link to you. And then if you want to come along. It's about grounding, really. A lot of it's, and we're all guilty of it. We go to investigations, we don't really ground correctly, do we? And, although we try before we go in and come out, but it's all about, crystals or dowsing rods, all the basic equipment you could use. Because we had a lot of people interested and never done it before. When I did the talk a few weeks ago with the other lady and Jen, they were interested in how does this equipment work and how does this work and why does that do that? And sort of on that evening, you don't really have a great deal of time to go into in depth. So they said, oh, do you do a beginner's class where we could learn about these different types of crystals, the energy in the crystals, dowsing rods? Like I know Julia's good with them. We've been using them for many years, haven't you, Julia?
About 20, yes.
Did you ever get your glow in the dark ones back?
Yes, yeah, I did find them. I think it's just tired eyes, I think.
Anyway, we've done an hour and 17 minutes. Nobody's asked us any questions. So,
One more comment.
all right, here we go. Scenes from the old folk table.
Read it out.
It rhymes, but it stems from the old folklore tale. With this sudden sensation caused by walking over one's grave was eventually going to be. According to Google, it isn't deja vu, similar thing, but it could be a past life thing, depending if you believe in past lives.
Mm.
You know that feeling when we were saying it earlier about someone walking over your grave?
Mm.
You know that feeling, Jen?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? That feeling. And that's also, when I did the parapsychology, I have to make this the last one. When I did parapsychology, they were saying about birthmarks, on people's faces and bodies, they get birthmarks. And some people say that they're previous wounds from their previous life where they would have died from.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they're all in different places on their body. Some people have them on their face and they on their backs, and they say that their study was that these would indicate wound sites from a previous life where they would have died, in a shot or a sword, or because they're the way that they're strategically placed on the body, they're not all in the same place.
Maybe if they had them like at the back of their neck, maybe they were beheaded.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or on their face, would they have been shot in the face?
Mm.
Yeah.
When there's a trauma in the face, on the body, on the shoulder, in the neck, and that's what they were saying, that they did a study on birthmarks, and that's what they think. I mean, it's up to your own interpretation, isn't it? There's probably a scientific reason why it is what it is, but that's what they say in the parapsychology world, that they indicate a trauma in a previous life. And we'll end on that then. And thank you for tuning in tonight and watching. Thank you for the comments, Gemma and Ryan and whoever else has commented. Well done, Angela. Great live again tonight. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Julia's gone into the dark somehow.
Yeah, to darkness.
Julia's gone to the dark side. Look.
I also say thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
And Luke, well done, Luke. Thank you. Actually
Thank
spoke
you.
this time. You've done
Yeah.
well there. We're one step
Thank
forward.
you.
Well
Yeah.
done, mate.
Thank
So
you.
on behalf of all of us from the Monday Night Paranormal Live, come back and see us next Monday. If you have a topic you want us to talk about and join in, please do. Come in and talk to us. We're here, like-minded people. We're a very friendly group. We enjoy a bit of fun and laughter. Keep an eye on the Paranation web pages of the events coming up soon. Plus, myself, Jenny, and Angela are doing one in Somerset soon, isn't it, Angela? At the Bigfoot Cryptid Conference with Daniel.
Yeah, next
So
month.
we'll be next month. So we'll be there next month. So we'll do
20th,
doing a
20th.
paranormal
20th of July.
20th of July. So we're doing a paranormal half an hour chat, and then we'll be sitting at a table where you come and ask us questions. We'll have certain equipment on there, and hopefully, if Julia's there, or we'll have brochures on the table that we can leave out for people to take and have a look and come and ask us questions. And we'll be there. We're friendly. We're nice. So it's a big, big thank you from me and the rest of the team on here tonight. So Julia said we're at the convent at the end of the month, I think it is. So we're coming back with what's happened there, which hopefully will be a really good investigation, and we have some real good experiences there, because it's quite a place, I can imagine, by reading a bit about it. So we all look forward to being there. So it only remains for us to say good night, have a good week, and stay safe, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.